What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Colin here for another weekly news update. And, well, right off the bat, on the annoying side of things, I just did this video, and I don't know what happened. It only recorded 3 minutes of the video. So, yeah, I was slightly annoyed with that. Because I did like a half-hour video, and it only recorded 3 minutes. So, yeah, I'm doing it all over again. Alright, so guys, you guys know that every week when I do this, at the beginning of it, I always do a recap. So for last week, I finished Tomb Raider. That's done, gone, finito. And then I jumped into Far Harbor, Fallout 4 Far Harbor. I think I'm about halfway through that right now. So tonight, I'll be playing more of that. I might even beat it tonight. And then, what else? That was pretty much last week. We did a little bit of No Man's Sky for just a little bit. And that was pretty much it for last week. And now, this week, would be is the Fallout 4, more Fallout 4 for Harbor. I'll throw No Man's Sky in there somewhere. And then at the end of the week, I will throw in Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It's actually being released tomorrow, but I'm not getting it tomorrow. I won't have it till the end of the week. So just remember, guys, at the end of the week, I will have footage up for that. And then, yeah, that's it. That's the recap for this week, and then what is going on for the rest of this week. And then, I'm trying to think, hold on. Next week, next Tuesday, is going to be the release of the DLC for Fallout 4 Nuka World. I very much want to get my hands on it. I have loved playing Far Harbor. You know, the first couple DLCs that they released for Fallout 4, I didn't care about, so I didn't get them. The Nuka World and Far Harbor, well, Far Harbor I got, I'm loving it. Nuka World I want to get, but I don't want to make promises, guys, that I'm going to get it by next Tuesday because I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. We'll see what happens. I want to get it, and even if I don't get it next Tuesday, I will get it eventually. But I'm going to aim for next Tuesday, but like I said, I can't make promises right now. We'll see what happens. And then, going into September, we'll have the BioShock collection that we're going to be playing. And I will probably start something. More than likely, it's probably going to be Dishonored, because I want to play the first game before I start the second one. And the second one doesn't come out until November, so I got time to try and figure out how to fit it in there. Now, I'm not going to be able to fit it in October. October, I am very busy, backed up with a lot of games. Yeah, that's it. Now, the one thing that I wanted to go over with you guys, which I just found out about, is the PlayStation Plus subscriptions. They're going up $10, guys. So it's no longer going to be $50 a year. It's going to go up to $60 a year. I don't know why they're doing this. All I know is that they are doing it. So I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of people are not happy about it, but to me, $60 a year, I'm not really upset over it. I'll deal with it. I'll be fine. But just thought I'd let you guys know that that is happening. All right, guys. Now, the first thing that I want to hop into here is I'm sure a lot of you that watched E3 saw the new Prey that is coming out. And it looks fantastic. I can't wait to play this game. So I'm just going to go over with you some stuff here. All right, guys. Something has gone terribly wrong. The carnivorous Sorry, guys. The cavernous atrium of Talos 1 space station is dark and devoid of life. Yet filled with ominous creaks and groans, a lifeless body slumps against a nearby wall. Protagonist Morgan Yu, the key subject in some secretive experiment gone wrong, grips a wrench in anticipation of what's to come. When you emerge from the experiment, the disaster that's overtaking the space station just happened. It didn't happen months or years ago, it's happening right now. Says the lead designer Ricardo Bear. Though Bear won't reveal the exact nature of Prey's central disaster, its effects can be felt throughout the world. Even the game's opening era utilizes the same jarring juxtaposition of decadence and ruin that makes games like BioShock such unsettling experiences. As Morgan creeps through the once impressive atrium, a shadowy spider-like figure darts up a nearby staircase. Ignoring decades of horror movie wisdom, Morgan chases after the specter, but when he reaches the top of the stairs, he finds only a trash can rolling slowly towards him. Seemingly on a hunch, Morgan swings his wrench anyways, and as it strikes, the object instantly transforms into a screeching alien, still shadowy and ethereal in form. I think I said that wrong, but that's what we're going with. With a few more swipes, Morgan subdues the alien with Bear, later identifies as a mimic, a creature capable of assuming the form of virtually any object, allowing it to hide in plain sight and terrify unsuspecting experimentees. Jump scares seem inevitable and utterly unavoidable. It's not always predictable, even by us, because the aliens do not systematically, or the aliens do that systematically. Explains Arkane Studios co-creative director Raphael Colantano. Based on what objects are around them, they will choose one if they have to flee at this moment. Coffee! While there's clearly plenty of potential for terror in Prey, Colin is also quick to downplay its overall significance. There are horror elements, but it's not a horror game in the sense that this is not the focus for us. The focus is a story where you were the subject of an experiment and something went wrong, and now you are trying to understand what happened, and who you are, and why you're here, and how do you escape this place. Indeed, Prey seems to rely more on subdued creepiness than explicit horror, and according to Colantano, may even resort to fourth wall breaking psychological manipulation to further seed its pervasive paranoia. We're going to mess with the players' heads to some degree, at least at the very beginning, because there's a big theme about identity and what did you want before and what do you want now. The developers won't just be playing my games, though. They'll also be empowering players to cope with their dire circumstances, primarily by arming them with makeshift weapons and unconventional abilities. While further exploring the station, for example, Morgan stumbles upon a glass case containing a sinister-looking metallic object called a neuromod. As the name implies, these devices quite literally modify Morgan's brain by stabbing needles through his eyeball and rewiring his neurons, thereby unlocking a new ability or upgrade. Yeah, there's not a needle going in my eye. No, I'm good. Screw that. No needle in my eyeball. There are two groups of neuromods, reveals Bear. There are human-based neuromods, human skills like I want to be a better hacker or more agile or something like that. But then all the alien ones are in a separate group. You don't have the data for those, so you have to go out and scan the aliens and acquire it. According to Bear, scanning enough aliens to acquire specific powers will be demanding, often forcing players to venture into particular dangerous parts of the space station or defeat a certain number of powerful enemies. Ultimately, it's up to players to decide which options are actually worth the risk, but as you might expect, the rewards are potentially substantial. Perhaps the most compelling example, Morgan can actually acquire the Mimic ability and transform into virtually any nearby object. There are some rules around the power, says Bear. Like it has to be an object that's roughly the size of Morgan or smaller. It has to be an object that isn't bolted to the ground. Hold on, guys. It has to be a physics-based object. Despite those loose limitations, Mimic provided invaluable during our demo. At one point, Morgan turned into a coffee mug and bypassed a locked door by rolling through an open window instead. Later on, he converted himself into a small, spherical-like mine and used some kind of kinetic blast to launch himself up to a previously inaccessible ledge, like a scary Samus Aran. And though he never used it to hide from an enemy, Mimic could conceivably be used for stealth purposes as well. Given that the power is physics-based and highly adaptable, Mimic's applications will likely expand to match players' creativity. There are, of course, other powers available to Morgan as well. We showed off one called Super Thermal, recalls Bear, which lets you put a trap anywhere in the environment, and if anything moves past the trap, it'll explode into a huge cascade of fire. The cool thing about it is that it's physics-based, so you can trigger it too. You can throw a box across the room when you want it to trigger. You have to be careful because if an ally walks by it, it blows them up too. Whoops. Sorry. Base further warns there are consequences to adapting alien powers, since things like as the station's defenses will start to recognize you as an alien and start attacking you. Just as Arkan Studios' other tentpole franchises Dishonored pull a page from the Choice and Consequences playbook, popularized by the original Deus Ex, so too does Prey. You can choose to forego any and all alien abilities and focus instead on the game's unusual weaponry. Like Dead Space, Prey's scientific setting means many of the firearms are actually repurposed tools rather than guns. You're on board of a space station. It was not a military space station or anything like this. It's a high-tech company, so there are a few weapons for security reasons, but that's all. According to Colin, Prey won't deprive players of ammo the same way a survival game like The Last of Us might, but the development team initially avoided handing players an arsenal. We wanted to encourage players' creativity as much as possible, and if you give players weapons, then they're just going to shoot. People will usually go for the most direct solution. A bullet is pretty direct. So by limiting this, we give them opportunities for other things, which is super satisfying for players because now they have a reason to be creative, as opposed to trying to do cool things just for fun. They feel like they're really surviving and using their intelligence, which is cool. In spite of these efforts to foster creativity, determined shooter fans might still be able to play Prey as a gun and runner. Or, I'm sorry, as a run and gunner. It all comes down to player choice. We have a crafting system in the game, and players could burn all their resources on making shotgun shells. So you could be the player who's like, I'm just going to shoot everything in the face because I burned all my resources on supporting that playstyle, and that's okay too. Assuming you're willing to eschew shotguns and embrace Prey's unfamiliar firearms, you'll find options like the GLOO cannon. This bulky, non-lethal gun spews a steady stream of sticky paste, which at one point Morgan uses to immobilize several enemies simultaneously. We saw it as an object that was designed initially to control the aliens in case of a problem. They didn't want to kill them, but they wanted to trap them. Then it happened that it has side properties. Those side properties include the fact that glue hardens when it dries, allowing Morgan to say neutralize a hazard by capping a flammable gas pipe or even build an entirely new vertical path by spraying glue up a wall to create a makeshift ramp. The glue cannons, potentially as a traversal and puzzle-solving tool, opens the door to creativity and discover in much the same way as Mimic and the other powers. And then, of course, there's the Recycler Charge, a portable black hole that sucks in anything that isn't nailed down, including Mimics, and compresses it into crafting materials, according to Bear. While the idea of completely cleansing a room is pretty satisfying in its own right, crafting materials are significant for another. Even more exciting reason with them, players can upgrade Morgan's suit with a propulsion system, allowing him to venture out of the station into the floating field of debris that occupies the cold black space outside. That would be quite interesting. The exterior, one big ship, one big space that you can fly around in. There are side quests out there. There are hidden areas of the space station that you can only get to by flying outside, and it's also useful for traversal. Late in the demo, Morgan pulls himself through an airlock as the atmosphere of the space station hisses past him into space. Though he moves slowly and methodically, he seems to be able to maneuver with relatively ease, navigating confidently through the debris in search of a missing scientist. The oxygen meter in the corner of the screen diminishes slowly, affording him enough time to venture into floating chunks of the station that are now exposed to open space. In one such area, Morgan finds the corpse he's searching for, grabs some data off the body, and turns to head back inside, allowing the camera enough distance to pan over the entirety of the breathtaking station. The structure is massive, intricate, and according to Bear, completely open. The structure of the game is open-ended. We call it an open space station game, so you can go anywhere in the space station you want as long as you have the means to get there. There are places, for instance, you could go to way before you have any business being there, so you'll get your ass handed to you. Like in those old school RPGs where you're like, okay, I'll come back when I've leveled up significantly. Late in the game, once the space station is very opened up, then you'll get missions all over the place, and it'll be up to you how to get there. Do I want to go outside, or do I want to go through the elevator? Or maybe I'll crawl through the guts of the space station. You might decide that based on how fast or how dangerous it is, when you might think opting for the relative piece of open space should be the safest option, you would unfortunately be wrong. There's combat in zero gravity, absolutely. There are these little flying robots, and some of the aliens are able to navigate in zero G. So you'll definitely encounter things like that in space. Needless to say, the interior corridors won't be much safer, but in addition to encountering hostile robots and incorporeal aliens, you may also stumble upon other humans. Kind of shocking when you consider the desolation of those opening moments in the atrium. Most of the people are dead, but not all of them. And so you'll find some survivors along the way that are barricaded in or calling for help. There are different people that talk to you and try to influence you into doing this or that. When you run into these people, you get to decide, should I help them? Should I hinder them? Some of them are trying to hinder you, but the way that you treat these people has a significant impact on the way the game turns out in the end. Different people will ask you to do different things for them, and some of them are going to be mutually exclusive. If you help one, the other one will be pissed about it. Regardless of who you ultimately ally with, Prey promises both plenty of threats and plenty of ways to deal with them. With its Dishonored Esquire powers, inventive weaponry, zero-gravity combat, unrestricted exploration, and sci-fi conspiracy steeped in tension and terror, Prey's ambitious mix of ideas and obvious emphasis on player creativity in many ways sets the game apart from the rest of the genre. After all, how many shooters let you turn into a coffee mug? That's awesome. I can't wait to play that. That's going to be so much fun to play. All right. Now, let's go into our next thing, guys. So, the next thing I want to go with you guys, is how many of you know about the PT-inspired horror game Allison Road? I'm sure a lot of you do know about it, but maybe there's people out there that don't know about it. They had like some sort of, I think it was like some sort of alpha gameplay out for it. It was a while ago, but the game's creepy as shit, and it looks so much fun. It's just awesome. Well, the sad thing is a couple months ago, back in the beginning of the summer, the game got canceled. So, obviously that was a sad thing because I was looking very forward to getting my hands on this. I don't know why it was canceled. Just, I guess, something happened with the people, the development team, or the people that were making the game, or something. I don't know. But something happened and things went bad. Oops. Like I said, I don't know what happened. I don't know what went bad. But, alright. Remember Allison Road, the indie horror project that was announced last year and looks like... I've been a soldier. Whoops. Hold on, guys. For 3 years. Okay. Sorry, I lost my place. Okay, the game was canceled earlier this summer, but developer Lilith Ltd never fully explained what happened to it. Now creator Christian Kessler has revealed that he has revived Allison Road and created a new studio called Far From Home. Talking to IGN, Kessler didn't go into detail about why he left Lilith or canceled the game originally, but he did explain that he was excited that he could start working on it again. I'm actually really happy to be able to announce that Allison Road will continue. We had a lot of support online, and some folks out there are just incredibly nice. It wasn't easy for him to return to Allison Road. However, he said that it took introspection and time off to feel ready to restart development. It did take a bit of soul searching to find the drive again to work on Allison Road and to simply make a call on what to do next. After the setback, I took a bit of a break from working on it and reevaluated all the work that had been done so far. The whole journey, so to speak. I started making a few, in my opinion, necessary changes to the story and the flow. Little bits and pieces here and there, and before I knew it, it sort of naturally came back to life. For the moment, he will work on Allison Road alone and only bring on help if absolutely necessary, explaining that a lot of the difficult parts of development were already completed before it was canceled. And when it comes to a point when new features and mechanics are required or old ones need changing, I'll go look for support. Allison Road was well received by the public when its Kickstarter campaign went live last year, but ultimately the campaign was shut down in favor of a publisher. It's unclear if Team 17 is still publishing the game. We've reached out to them, but no one has heard anything back. There is no release window for the game yet, but once we find out something, I'll definitely let you guys know. And then the last bit of excuse me, last bit of news I want to go over with you guys here is apparently there are 2 PlayStation 4 is being revealed in September. And from my knowledge, I believe it's the PS4 Neo and the PS4 Slim that apparently got leaked and is out in the public somewhere. So it's going to be a new standard model and then a more powerful model of the PS4, which is obviously the Neo. Hold on, guys. My laptop's being stupid. Okay, Sony will be unveiling a new PlayStation 4 standard model in September, alongside a new upgraded PlayStation 4, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal, citing sources familiar with the matter. The report alleges the two new consoles will be introduced in a bid to maintain demand for the PlayStation 4. The timing lines up with the PlayStation event Sony has scheduled for September 7th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The presentation will be held at PlayStation Theater in New York. Although the company has not disclosed what exactly it will be showing, the new information lines up with previous reports that a new PS4 model would be revealed at a PlayStation 4 event in September. GameSpot reached out to PlayStation for comment, and a spokesperson for the company responded, "Sony Interactive Entertainment does not comment on rumor or speculation." Yes, we know that, because that is their favorite line to say. In June this year, Sony confirmed that it was working on a more powerful version of the PlayStation 4, codenamed Neo. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Andrew House revealed that the console will feature improved graphics and support for 4K resolution. House also confirmed that the console is intended to be sold alongside the standard version of the PS4 at a higher price. Sony hasn't revealed much else about the Neo, opting not to talk about the console at E3 this year. However, the PlayStation event takes place just a week before Tokyo Game Show, which starts on September 15th. Analysts have previously suggested that the new PlayStation 4 models would be launched before or during the Tokyo Game Show. And all PS4 games will be playable on both the existing PS4 and Neo. Sony has said it will take a small but manageable amount of effort for developers to get games working on both versions of the PS4. Since the announcement of Neo and Scorpio, a number of publishers have spoken positively about this type of mid-cycle hardware upgrade. Alright, guys. Now, very last thing I want to go over with. Now, remember, guys, this is a rumor. I do not have any hardcore proof this is actually happening, but it's something that I have seen in a couple places. So, there is a huge rumor going around that at this PlayStation Theater, when they're doing their thing, there is a possibility they might unveil the new, not the new, but the new. I know what I'm trying to say here, but it's not coming to my freaking brain. Red Dead Redemption 2. They finally might unveil that. Now, remember, guys, it's as of right now, it's just a rumor. I do not have any proof whatsoever this is really going to happen. But there's a whole bunch of rumors and speculation going around that they actually might unveil it. And actually, I think it's Take-Two Interactive. Or wait. Or is it Rockstar? It's one of the two. Well, I know Rockstar does it. But one of the two companies has said, and I actually think it's Take-Two Interactive said it, that they are unveiling something. And it's something big, I guess. But they're not saying what it is. So the speculation right now is either it's going to be Red Dead Redemption 2 or is it Red Dead Redemption 3? Might be 3. Or it's going to be story mode for the DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5. So that's all the information I got on that one, guys. Remember, again, it's just a rumor. All right, guys, that is a wrap on this week's news, and hopefully this recorded, because I'm going to be really upset if it did that to me 2 times in a row. But nonetheless, do me a big favor, guys. Smack that like button for me. And please, if you really like it, please become a subscriber. I always got content for you guys. Every single week I got something for you. All right, guys. And that's it. Just remember, guys, this week is going to be more Fallout 4 Far Harbor. I'll throw in a little No Man's Sky. And then towards the end of the week is going to be Deus Ex Mankind Divided. All right, guys. I'm Colin, a.k.a. Mr. Cowa. That's a wrap. Deuces.